They believe in dominance, conquest, force, greed, envy, theft, rape, immorality, sexual profanity, perversity. That is what they believe in. That is their culture. That is their way of life. They don't know anything else. The colonizers. They don't see anything wrong with them inventing technology that does not vibe with the vibrations of this planet. Technology is something alien, people. It does not belong to this planet. I don't know which planet it is coming from. It does not belong to this planet, because that is why you can find that technology is really destabilizing, the interconnectedness of the vibrations, right? As an example, look at you as a body. Your body is a bioelectrical conductor. There is an amount of electrical charge within your body that is circulating, connected to what? To the electrical charge from the ground, the land on which you're walking, and although the spaces, the wind and the air. What do these people do now? They invent technology, like this cellular generations of cellular network. Now we have 5G. What does these things do? The radioactive waves, because your body is a bioelectrical conductor. Now they enter into your body space. Within you, there is a harmonious flow of electrical energy. So these radioactive waves with the high voltage electrical power, they get into your space. They destabilize the flow of energy within you, right? So what happens now? They create an environment of disease, disorder within yourself. That is why we are having a lot of sicknesses, because some of these things, the way they are so raw and powerful, they can even decompose oxygen within your body. Then the next thing, you are suffering from flu-like, diseases. Then they'll tell you that there is COVID. You just have to get their vaccination, knowing that what they want out of you. This is what they are doing legally. It's a system. It's a way of life. It's even, under the legislation of the government of the world, not the earth. So we fell and we became like them. Today we are living in a world of lawlessness, where even people they no longer want to live with their families. This little unit of families is not our culture. We believe in collective belonging. We as human beings, we collectively belong to the entirety of creation. And then we as a family is a series of interconnected communities. So all communities come together through what? Marriages. That is how we build communities that are all living under the law of the land. But they brought the system of, this thing of, no, I'm just living with my wife and my kids, cut and clear. When a neighbor, when a relative is asking for assistance, what do they call it? They now call it black tax. All these, rhetorics and all this, vocabulary that we are now using actually, tap into vibrations, the vibration that really now influence our mind. If our mind was thinking in this direction, now our mind is thinking reverse. So it's the reverse psychology, it's the reverse equation. This is what has happened. Today, when people look at, by and large, like white people, they'll tell that, no, white people live in orderly spaces where in the suburb is so quiet, they have everything, they share, there's no crime, they even have, livestock, maybe it's a dog, they love animals, they can do anything for animals, they love the jungle, they can do anything, for nature, they love nature. So this is the reverse equation. Who we were yesterday is what they are, imitating. They are not living, they are imitating it. And then we took their character. the character of the colonizers. Hence we talk of tomb raiders, people who raid cemeteries, stealing everything, be it tombstones, be it everything. Just like what these the Christopher Columbus, and the Marco Polos and all those were doing. The rapists like the Cecil John Rhodes and the Van Riebeck and all their life. Those are rapists, international rapists, who rape people en masse collectively and take away everything and infect you with a pandemic of poverty, systematically, structured and engineered. But this is where we are today. Those people, where they come from, they're coming from poverty. There was nothing. If you go back and learn the history of Europe, you will see that coinciding, with the era of colonization, life was unbearable in Europe. There was poverty, there were diseases, people were living in the streets, people were even some wearing plastic and cardboards, using cardboards, for shelter. This is something that we see happening within our countries today. It was all drugs, the economies were just dwindling, So they brought all that unto us. Then they took away our everything and took away even our character, our identities, and then we became like them. This is why our communities, our countries, our families, everywhere you see African people is all chaos. It's because we became like them. We tapped into the demonic frequency that controlled their spirit, that controlled their minds. That is why even the things that we used to suppress, systematically by the law of the land, and now, taking space and dominating our day-to-day lives. Everything wrong that is against Ubuntu is now a way of life. It's now an adopted culture, a subculture today. You can talk of anything that is against the law of the land, the law of Ubuntu. Is now a way of life. We had alcohol naturally, but the culture of drunkenness was never our culture. It's the culture of the colonizers. That is why they had to build nightclubs wherein they fraternize the nightclub at night so that you don't see them. That is why they were saying 6 o'clock you leave Josie. If we see any black person, we're gonna take you into the prison. But they were hiding their folly. They are hiding their filth so that we don't see it. In the nightclub, it's all prostitution. Prostitution was never our culture. It's all sodomy. It was never our culture. Peddling of drugs is never our culture. But this is the life that we are living today. So all we are saying is, it is though our duty to really, resurrect ourselves, resuscitate ourselves, revive ourselves, rebirth ourselves, regroom ourselves, rebuild ourselves, re-identify ourselves, because now we are swimming and stuck and sinking in the pool of self-forgetfulness. We have forgotten who we are. Mabete yazinza hambi insizwa kwasali ibongo. This is a metaphor of Nguni saying that we can say, we are left with just names that are empty, that don't have meaning. Even the people who do the traditional rites, traditional ceremonies, traditional cultures and everything, they now do traditions. They are no longer doing culture. Maybe ngikhulumisa ingisi, benza imikhuba hayi usiko nkolo. This is how we say it in Isinguni. Usiko nkolo, this is when we're talking about your culture tied to your spirituality and culture creating your identity. Then these things, you really, express them through traditions that you do. We have lost the content, the major meaning of all these things that are related to our culture, and we just remain with empty names. Right, so yeah, man, right now the time is 9 minutes after 11 o'clock. Tikatara show is just gonna be getting into the stage right now. I see Shigaza is in the house, and big up yourself. Yes, it's been a beautiful time with you. Everyone who tuned in and engaged with us, we really give thanks unto that. From Zawadi, all I can say is adios, kwaherini, goodbye, nisale kahle. Sibonane futhi kusasa. Tomorrow is Friday. It's gonna be Happy Fridays with Zawadi and Shelly, and we're gonna be talking about the demon of addiction. This is what is going to be our topic tomorrow. So make sure you stay tuned to Mzansi Joburg City FM and never lose out in every show that we are giving out here. And I see there is many